So with advances in the form of electronic payments that have seen no bounds over time, growth scale has been increasing at a continuous pace. Cross-border payments till date remain an area of concern for many individuals at large, and to decode the secrets behind Digital Microfinance, integrating customer centricity, I'd now like to invite our moderator, Dr. Alok Misra, CEO MFIN, to kindly join us up on stage. A big round of applause. And we have a revered list of speakers for this discussion here. I'd like to welcome Mr. Sadaf Sayeed, CEO of Muthoot Microfinance Limited. Ladies and gentlemen, can you please join in a round of applause, please, as we welcome all our dignitaries up on the dais. They're already here. To Mr. Baskar, Babu, Ramachandran, Managing Director and CEO at Suryoday Small Finance Bank Limited. Round of applause, please. To Mr. Manoj, Kumar, Sharma, Managing Director of MicroSave Consulting. Thank you for joining us. And Mr. Vineet Chattree, the Managing Director of Svatantra Microfinance Limited. Thank you so very much for joining us.
Yeah.
So I request for Mr. Sadaf. Sir, he's not here.
He will come. We can start.
Sure, absolutely. Do take over, sir.
Okay. So good afternoon, everybody. And the reason why we are here with this panel is to bridge the chasm between what we call nowadays fintech, or the whole fintech forum, that microfinance seen as a model which works closely with clients, and it is not technology friendly or something, because we want to demonstrate in this panel that how much microfinance has adopted technology, but adopted technology in a manner which is friendly and suitable to the client. So before I get into the panel discussion, I will request the MC to kindly show the film. It's a short 3-minute film which we have produced on digital microfinance. After that, we will start our discussion. Please, the film, please. Yeah.
The growth of microfinance and the digital transformation of India happened simultaneously, and the sector played a critical role in laying the foundation of this digital journey through an existing customer base of over 6 crore women. The microfinance sector, which has been providing access to credit in the underserved areas of the country, adopted digitalization in a calibrated manner. Today, a field force of nearly 2 lakhs provides an assisted digital interface to the borrowers from low-income households, often with low literacy levels. Tab-based solutions are employed in the field to achieve a faster turnaround of loan applications and customer complaints. The entire onboarding of customers is digital. Even the client verification processes are done through Aadhaar-based customer e-sign, video KYC, and credit bureau check. Today, all 4 bureaus have nearly 11 crore microfinance client records with 6 crore active clients. This has played a critical role in building a credit culture among borrowers who now understand that a good credit score will assist them in accessing credit in the future. The sector leveraged the digital efforts of the government's Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana, disbursing nearly 100% of microfinance loans directly to the borrowers' accounts. The focus on cashless payments intensified post-COVID, and organizations adopted the UPI or QR code-based UPI payments or their own digital apps.
मैं पहले अपनी कैश जमा करती थी, पर अब मोबाइल फोन से ऑनलाइन आसान हो गया, इसलिए मैं ऑनलाइन जमा करती हूँ.
Various capacity building tools on digital know-how have been introduced by microfinance institutions besides the compulsory group training.
ऑनलाइन पेमेंट का मतलब सहूलियत और सुरक्षा। सहूलियत आपकी और सुरक्षा आपके पैसों की।
फोन पे पेमेंट होने की वजह से सब काम फास्ट हो गई है। मैं कोशिश करती हूँ कि मैं अपने दुकान पे ज़्यादा ऑनलाइन पेमेंट लूँ।
पिछले कुछ सालों में मोबाइल पेमेंट में काफ़ी बढ़ोतरी आई है। हमारा आगे भी यही प्रयास रहेगा कि क्लाइंट को मोबाइल पेमेंट के लिए प्रोत्साहित करें और उनसे मोबाइल पेमेंट करवाएं हम।
The initiative to issue Udyam Registration Number, a formalization project by the MSME Ministry and SIDBI, is a great step to further promote the formalization of small and medium enterprises, enabling them to benefit from digital ecosystems, financial services, and government benefits, among others. The microfinance sector is proud to play a facilitating and enabling role in building a digital India and in improving the quality of life of those at the bottom of the pyramid, while also spurring innovation and enterprise.
मैंने अपना पहला लोन 15,000 का लिया था, अब वो 8 साल बाद 80,000 का हो गया है।
खुशी वाला बात है, इसी से हम लोग जुटे हैं, इसी से आगे बढ़ते हैं।
So, thank you for watching the film. And in the film, you would have noticed that the figure of clients, because it was made 9 months back, it is said that 6 crore clients are being, low-income clients are being said. Today, when we speak, it is 7 crore, 6.99 to be precise. That is May end figure. And if we multiply it, because a typical household size would be 4 to 5. So if we multiply it, around 32 crore or 33 crore population is touched by microfinance through digital means. So, see, this is a silent revolution. We don't name it the new jargons of AI, ML and fintech and all that. But whatever is suited to the client at the low income level, the ways he is comfortable in dealing with, that revolution is happening. And the importance of it is that if we include 30 crore, which will grow in 2 years to maybe 40 crores or 45 crores, we would have built, when we give the slogan by Government of India of Digital India, this will be building Digital India. Because people like you and me are already digital. They didn't need an effort. But microfinance typically is associated with in-person contact, because you should know the client, because it is collateral-free loans, there has to be group, with group there has to be bonding. So that interesting marriage between digital, which has silently happened over 4-5 years, how did it happen and what are the challenges which are foreseen to the traditional model of personal touch? I have a very esteemed panel. On my left is Baskar Babuji, who is the founder and CEO and MD of Small Finance Bank, that is Suryoday Small Finance Bank. On my extreme right is Vineet Chattree. He is the MD and CEO of, not the CEO, MD of Svatantra Microfinance, an Aditya Birla company, second largest NBFC MFI, soon to be. And on my extreme right is Manoj ji, who will not only speak from India experience, but from his global experience, having worked across Africa, Asia and all that, on the digital side of it. So I will start with from my left side and then it can go like this. Baskar, what will you speak about the digital transformation of microfinance and what are the challenges it has posed?
Hello. Yeah, Alok, as you really mentioned, I think what has happened in this sector is it was happening slowly, and as many revolutions happen, and then it started happening suddenly. So earlier it was all cash. We were dispersing cash, everybody loved cash, and they were really repaying in cash. One side of that at least has happened now, which is near 100% in terms of cash disbursement. The other side is started slowly happening, and as this has happened over the last 10 years, from say 2010 to 2020, it was 50% bank disbursement, 50% cash. And in just 2 years, the 50 became 100%. And I'm sure similarly today, the digital repayment is less than 10%, true digital repayment. And that, the chances of that becoming 100% is probably another 3 years away. But however, many of the women in the household, as Alok really mentioned, 20% of the Indian households today are microfinance customers. But the lady of the household is still not financially digital. It is at the household level that they become. I think the operative thing for the entire microfinance sector as to how do we really encourage them to become financially digital. One way to do is that tinker with the feature phone and build features so that they can use it. Alternate, they are going to become anyway smartphone users in a year's time, 2 years' time. The moment we do it, what it does is beyond the operational excellence of reduced costs, increased convenience is one factor. It allows you to get a full view of the customer household. The moment that we are able to cater to the household, and all along, microfinance, in my view, has been restricted to microcredit. The moment it expands to microfinance truly, which means that they are covered meaningfully for term insurance, any unfortunate event happening in the family, just imagine a situation where we are able to credit 5 lakh rupees, 10 lakh rupees in the account. That phase is yet to happen. I think overall at the industry also we'll have to start moving away from looking at microfinance equivalent of microcredit to microfinance equal to holistic financial inclusion. In that experiment, we will also have to move away from treating the customer as a customer number, of saying that she is part of a group, she is part of my JLG, to treating customers individually for their credibility. That phase is yet to happen. I think we'll have to really break out of it. Manoj can probably throw light. Across the world, it is a customer who is being treated individually as a microfinance customer. In India, for various reasons, we don't want to fix what is not broken. We still treat them as a customer number. That moment has to happen. That's my view.
So, thanks, Baskar. Vineet, you should talk about, I think Baskar has skipped that part of the question, that what is the challenge to the traditional brick and mortar and personal relationship model of microfinance?
So, hi, thank you. Thank you, Alokji. Good afternoon to everyone, and I can see we're breaking on your lunchtime. But, I'll give you a small story, and a very interesting story. Almost all of your phones would have 2 SIMs. Probably some would carry 2 mobiles with probably 4 SIMs. And the statistics where we say everybody has a mobile phone, it's somewhere becoming a challenging dimension in the rural India. In rural India, there might be 1 or 2 phones in a household, and most of the women still are typically carrying the phone of their husbands, and therefore, that statistics does not apply there, but it is soon changing. Another fact, when we talk to the women about the smartphone, the question that comes is, button kaun sa dabana hai? Right? There's a difference between feature phone and smartphone, right? If you don't have a button kidhar hai dabane ke liye, right? However, what you also see is that while these women, and I'm talking of women largely, which majority is today the genre of borrowers of microfinance are typically 35 plus, you see the daughters of there, just behind the group, taking a TikTok video and playing the video games on the smartphone. So the point is, it's a matter of time that it will happen. Question, however, is, what do we do today? Now, when you turn around from a client perspective, the reach, the onboarding, the management, the collection, all this has to be a fintech journey to make it a complete fintech thing. From microfinance supplier perspective, we are all completely digitalize our processes. And believe me, I can vouch for the industry that practically everybody in the industry today is a mobility-based application for both onboarding, delivering, collection, risk, you name it. But when I turned the lens and went on the side of the customer, they're still struggling from a point of view of ownership to probably having to manage their loans very effectively. Now, one of the key reasons is all we said is, as Alokji very nicely said in the beginning, is the awareness, incentivization, and making the technology suitable to these customers. I think if you ask me, the biggest challenge today is how do you create incentivization enough? How do we create awareness enough? And most importantly, how do you create the economic or the unit cost mechanism of cashless economy in rural possible? I'm sure we all order on Swiggy, right? And there is a convenience charge, which I'm not sure how many of us look at it. Right? 60 rupees? How does it matter? Go to rural India and talk about getting 60 rupees just for the sake of it. I'm sure you won't get even 10 rupees. And now comes the challenge of unit economics of fintech. We talk about mandated, I'm sorry if I'm not taking a long time. We talk about this mandated ecosystem, where you put NACH mandate, and without mandated ecosystem of collections, in microfinance, which is 100% trust-based unsecured loan, it becomes a trickle challenge. The question is, how do you create a mandate? And the problem of mandate creation today, that the moment you go to a loss of this mandate or not able to pay, the charges that is levied, again, we all know that. So there are issues around making it affordable, creating an awareness, and incentivizing. We, for example, most of the microfinance players have started incentivizing customers. We pay from our pocket for them to get aware and incentivize when she pays. Because to me, when she pays online, it solves many problems for us, including the efficiencies of collection and reconciliation problems to start with. Because we are dealing with volumes here. But how do we incentivize them? Is there only, and therefore the problem has to be looked upon from a various angles, and it's just the microfinance can create the reach and awareness. But there needs to be a much larger debate on this point. But believe me, as Baskar Babu said, 100% of disbursements today are cashless. Probably 15 to 20% of the collections are becoming cashless in the industry. And this cashless is not about they going to a BBPS or paying to someone. It's UPI payment from their mobile directly to the company. There is a long journey of 85%, and I'm sure in next 5 years we will reach there. I'll stop here.
Manoj ji, both the practitioners have skirted the one question, and you have seen it from a global perspective, that the traditional touch model, you should know the client and all that. With the digital, if the loan is paid into the bank account, the client withdraws digitally, pays digitally. So where does all this, the fundamentals of the model go? Any global insights into it? Even India experience you have, so you can talk about it.
So I think, when we talk digital, India is perhaps one of the most digitized markets. If you look at microfinance, but the digitization that India has done is largely at the back end. What Vineet also talked about is that what we are saying is that the front end, which is the customer interface, that's not digital. Yeah? Other than that, India, I think, is a highly digitized market. And one of the challenges, of course, is that people don't have smartphones. Our end customer, the woman, doesn't have a smartphone. Hopefully that will change in the next 3 to 5 years. So obviously the digital interface model and all the applications that we talk about, whether it is Swiggy or Zomato or Uber or whatever, it is largely that because we have smartphones, we are able to interact with them. Yeah? So will the ownership of a smartphone lead to changes in the client behavior? And will it allow microfinance institutions and client to actually change the model of interface, which right now is physical, to a digitized model, just as we have gone that journey. हम सबका अब तो डिजिटल ही इंटरफेस रहता है और जैसा आलोक जी ने कहा कि वी आर विलिंग टू पे मोर देयर if it is digital, somehow it is. Abhi wahi taxi driver, I was just thinking today, for a 10-kilometer ride, we end up typically paying 400 to 500 rupees on an Uber. There is no question of haggling with him. अभी वो आदमी प्रेजेंट हो जाए और वो बोले 400 रुपये है तो यूँ से नहीं 300 रुपये में लेके चलो यार, क्या है इतना दूर तो जाना. So part of the thing is actually costs have gone up with digital. Nothing has gone down. Now, if you look at the most evolved market, which is the Kenyan market, तो डिजिटल तो जम के हो रहा है ना, और ज़्यादा डिजिटल जो हो रहा है एंड द डिजिटल दैट इज लार्जली गेटिंग ऑल द फ्लैग इज द $15 लोन, द $10 to $15, $20 लोन मैक्स दैट्स हैपनिंग. उसमें दे विल यूज़ योर मोबाइल डेटा, दे विल यूज़ योर मोबाइल मनी डेटा, एंड इट्स नॉट अ वेरी प्रिडिक्टिव क्रेडिट मॉडल. उसकी वजह से दे आर ओनली एबल टू गिव यू बिटवीन $10 to $20. And one of my colleagues used to joke that this is largely beer money. But as some research we found out, it is used for health emergencies, it is used for business, but there is also a significant chunk of usage that happens on betting, sports betting. So suddenly Friday night आप देखोगे, Friday evening, volumes जो है disbursal बढ़ जाता है. And there is evidence to show that it goes into sports betting. तो एक तो वो है जो consumer credit हो रहा है, large parts. The other is merchant lending. So POS machine है, it's giving you data trail, it's very good data trail, you are able to now use that to give loans to merchants. Misra is this microfinance loans, which is where I think India is also doing, at least has started that journey. That can we use the credit data of our clients to make repayment models, predictive repayment models. हमारे यहाँ भी कई सारे, there are lots of intermediaries who have started to do this, but over a period of time you will see that the likes of Svatantra and so on, they'll develop their own credit scoring models and they will be able to score those. But if you look at the Kenyan market, Equity Bank is doing in. Musoni was the first to start. In fact, I just recently last week met the founder of Musoni and he was cribbing, yeah, it didn't go the way we had thought it will go. And the last in this is value chain finance. कि there is a large business जो हम लोग किसी ज़माने में discounting scheme बोलते थे. There is a large company, and then that is now supplying to a host of, let's say, mobile phones. अब retailer है, उसको 5 लाख रुपए 10 लाख रुपए needs to buy mobile phones. There is a clear trail that is available. There is a GST trail that is there, and you can, using that GST trail, discount his bills, and then he'll repay in 3 months after he has sold those mobile phones. That is pretty, taken off quite well in Kenya, and we are seeing good fintech startups here. So I think we are there on the digital journey on the Indian market. The whole thing is that we will see a segmentation happening on the digital journey, and it allows for microfinance issues to move up the segment and also move down in the segment. Back to Alok.
Okay. Now, Baskar, everybody has said that in microfinance, now 100% loan disbursement, sourcing and disbursement is happening digitally. Now in repayment, clients have been given the option, but typically on an India scale, it is around 25 to 30% they pay digitally, and that includes cash drop at cash points. So 30%. So this is the scenario which you have. Back end, everything is digitized. Credit bureau score checking, decision making, underwriting, everything. Now in this scenario, if I take you down to say 2026 September, we are sitting here. What would you think will the scene look more changed in terms of digital transformation in microfinance, and will it pose any challenges? So these are two questions only.
Okay. Yeah, I think what is likely to happen is that I think from the typical woman of the household in the Indian microfinance segment does not really have a smartphone. Not that they can't afford. The question is they are sacrificial in nature, and they buy. And probably she is the only person in the household who can take a 1 lakh rupees loan in 3 days' time. The man of the household cannot, but she does it only to give it to the family. But the moment that I think in 3 years' time that is likely to change, where they will ask us, and I think we have to have a role to play, asking them why is that we are not having a mobile phone when my household member can have. So that change will happen, Alok. The second one that will happen is that the microfinance model all along has worked out where they get a loan only when the group is ready, not when they want the loan. So that is likely to change with digital. The next question that lady of the household will ask is that, okay, you are telling me smartphone, I'll have to repay, what is in it for me? I think we'll all have to jointly answer that question, that what is in it for you is that you can take a loan when you want at 9 o'clock in the evening without calling anybody by just pressing a button, rather than being part of a group, everybody is ready, and I will judge you not by your behavior alone, I judge you by the behavior of everybody else. And you all have to come to the meeting in time. There are traditional models, and I'm sure Alok and Manoj will still say that the group culture is required, only they know. I think at some point, we'll have to let go of that. A good student cannot be in the school for 25 years. They can be there only for 12 years. So microfinance customers also will have to evolve. They will have to move out of the school, they will have to go to college, they will have to kind of, typically, metaphorically putting it, the fact is that when these two questions get answered, when the woman treats herself to be equal to the man of the household, and hence I need basic necessity, which is a mobile phone. Second, ask the questions to us, what is in it for me? And they say you can take a loan when you want, you can repay it at your convenience. These two combination of factors, I would say 80%, whether we like it or not, is going to be happening completely digitally. And one breakout that's likely to happen here when we go digital is that a typical digital lender can do a small ticket loan only at probably a pricing of 36%, 40%, 46%. Probably microfinance is the only one where the digital infrastructure has already been preceded by a physical infrastructure, which means that the moment the cash collection happens through digital, the collection happens through digital, likely that currently where you're operating between 22% to 28% can shave off by 10%, which can technically mean we make as much money as we make today in the bottom line by lending at 18%, not necessarily at 24%. That, I think, breakout cannot probably, in my view, happen through mainstream fintechs. It can happen through us becoming fintechs for the low-income households.
Thank you. So I welcome Mr. Sadaf from CMD of Muthoot Microfinance. Because time is short and you have joined us late, I will put one question to you. We have discussed about digital, what has happened in microfinance and all that. So my question to you would be that when we are already there, 7 crore outreach is there, if you multiply their family, 25 crores, 30 crores, whatever it is, and you are offering credit collateral free and digital, it is already digital, then this lure of fintech loans or whatever loans. So similar segment at a very higher cost of it. So what do you see? Is there any challenges to microfinance, or microfinance will be able to integrate that stream into it also? Will you be able to do it, or that will continue to be there and thrive?
First of all, apologies for being late. I think great question, Alok sir. I think two parts to it. One is whether microfinance can compete with fintech, or whether that will parallelly coexist. I think microfinance, there is a lot of progress that has been made. The infrastructure that has been laid down in terms of Jandan, Aadhaar and mobile now is really helping us to reach to the last mile. And we were there in the physical form. Now we are able to, as Baskar said, in the digital form also access the customer. And I think what we are trying to do is not only promote financial inclusion, digital inclusion. Though the customer has the option of fintech, but I think the biggest challenge that I see is the financial literacy and the digital literacy that the customer has. Especially the microfinance customer I'm talking about, because though she may have a fintech option, but whether she understand the option fully or not, that's a question mark. Whereas microfinance, because we have both, we are a phygital model. We have a footprint in the rural where customer can actually see a physical branch, meet a person, but at the same time, most of the microfinance companies are innovating and they are giving digital option. For example, we have a customer app. Out of our 3 million customer, 1.38 million customer already have an app. And some of the customers who are good repayment track record, they get an option of borrowing digitally. So just as Baskar said, at a click of a button, she can borrow money. So if that option is there with a sense of, okay, I can touch and feel the product, I can meet a relationship officer, I can go to the branch, and it's a familiar face that I've been dealing with. So I think that will give an edge to microfinance. I don't say that fintech would be completely irrelevant, but I feel that given the financial literacy, the limitation that is there, and digital literacy, I think microfinance, if they are able to build the capacity in terms of technology, they would be better served.
Thank you. And instead of going for the second round before that, I think I will open it up. If anybody has any questions or anything, they can just get up and ask. I think I have a hand, a lady, and then behind that, after that you, and then 4 questions. Be brief, because we have to running short of time. You need a mic? You can take this and pass it on.
Thank you. My name is Shreya. My question is that with this entire focus on digitizing your customer, will that reduce your need to have as many group meetings? As in MFI, will your group meetings reduce? Does that mean over a period of time your cost structures reduce? Is this one of the positives that can come out of digitizing your customer end?
Thank you for such wonderful insights, sir. My question is to Mr. Baskar Babu. Sir, you said that like there would be only when there's incentive for women that what's in it for her to use this digital infrastructure, then only they will shift to this repayment, online repayment. But this you're talking about only the women who are probably your existing customer. Like to them you are giving this option of repayment. But for the new to NTC customer, would it, I mean, they are still using the feature phones. So how do you make them or incentivize them to switch to this?
Got your question. Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm Vineet from Money Control. So I wanted to understand what challenges you guys face as banks and MFI players when it comes to collection and the repayment part from your customers.
Okay. So let us address first 3 questions. I think Baskar ji will answer the question addressed to him. What about NTC customers? Vineet ji can address group meetings and the second question. Yeah.
Okay, so I can address the meeting question. Okay, so, as Sadaf rightly said, that microfinance is a physical and a digital combination, right? Now, let's understand these are unsecured loans and primarily given to the vulnerable segment of the society. Now, what we are doing when we are meeting, and that's a very good question, and we have been debating this for a very long time, that yes, even when the customers pay us digitally, but then please understand that this meeting has another dimension. Other dimension remains credit, and other dimension also creating awareness and probably taking her to the next level of her financial inclusion. So as the digitization adoption by the customer increases, our focus of group meetings will more shift towards doing more value-added work than just simple repayment and collections. And that is what all of us are geared towards. So that's the small answer to your thing. And challenges for collection? See, the challenges for collection is very simple. It's one is having a smartphone. Second, awareness. Third, keeping her bank account funded. Because if there is no money in the bank, there is no way you're talking about digitization, right? And lastly, the cost economics of digital payment. And finally, what's in it for her, right? What is the incentive that she gets in terms of doing it, whether the digital footprint is created enough for us to take her to the next level? These are some of those challenges which we face. None of them is unsurmountable, but it will be a journey that is going to happen.
If I can just add one point to Vineet's point, see, digital versus physical collection, it's not a binary. Both of them can coexist, and that is what we are trying to do. That digital, the cash only gets transferred into digital format, but the physical center meeting continues. And Vineet rightly said, the purpose of the center meeting is much more than just collecting cash. It is engaging with the customer, motivating the customer, and knowing what is happening at the household.
Yeah, just briefly, in terms of it will also help NTC. For instance, in everything, including if I'm a MD of a small finance bank or Vineet as a MD of a large financial NBFC MFI, the question is that can my maid or a driver get a loan as easily? Even within our own organizations, there is no. So just imagine a situation where Alok's maid wants a 1 lakh rupees loan and he can do a referral. And I know that no, Alok is a good customer. Typically, like look at it, every good customer of ours can refer one more good customer. And that can happen digitally. And everything today can happen digitally. So you'll have to take that call. And I'm sure it will also really enable the NTC customer. Even if not, once into the bank, into the company, can be through the physical means, which as I said, that our digital network is already preceded by a very large physical network. You'll have to combine both. Thank you.
So thank you all. The MC is already standing on it. It is an interesting topic. We could have gone for much longer, but we live in a Twitter world and X world where we have to conclude in 5 minutes, otherwise we'll lose attention. So thank you all the panelists, and thank you all that we have concluded on time. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, request you to kindly give all our panelists a big round of applause as we present mementos to them on behalf of Perfumes. Can we have the mementos, please?